My name is Carrie, and I'm 32 years old. I live in a studio apartment that barely fits a bed and a tiny kitchen table. When I stretch my arms too wide, I can touch the opposite walls. Sometimes I tell myself it's cozy, but in truth, it feels like a cage built out of obligations. Every paycheck I've earned for the last decade has been chipped away by the people I love most, my family. By day, I work at a mid-sized company downtown, grinding through endless campaigns and late-night projects. 10 years of swallowing pride, taking on extra shifts, and skipping weekends finally led me here, a long awaited promotion to head of the marketing division. It should feel like triumph, but the weight of my family sits heavy, even in moments of success. My family is small but loud in my life. My parents, Linda and Robert, are in their mid-50s. Dad still picks up construction jobs when his back doesn't betray him. Mom quit her grocery store cashier job last year, insisting she couldn't keep up. Then there's my sister Maya, 3 years older, a woman who insists she's a business owner. She runs a coffee shop that's more empty than full, yet speaks of it as though it's an empire in the making. Her husband works at a warehouse, bringing in just enough to keep the lights on, and together they're raising two kids ages 8 and 10. Maya's coffee shop was built on loans from banks, loans from friends, and especially loans from me. She said she needed a family investment, and at the time, I thought helping her was my duty. But 3 years later, the shop is little more than a money pit. On good days, she has 5 customers. On bad days, none. Still, she introduces herself at gatherings as a successful entrepreneur while describing me as just an employee. That sting has dulled over time, but it never fully disappears. What hurts more is how easily my savings dissolve into everyone else's emergencies. When my parents couldn't cover the mortgage, I wrote the check. When Dad's car coughed its last breath, I paid the mechanic. When Mom needed dental work, my card slid across the counter. Even the kids' school trips, art supplies, soccer uniforms, paid for by Aunt Carrie. I gave my parents access to my bank account 3 years ago, meant only for real emergencies. At first, they were careful $200 here for groceries, $150 there for utilities. They always promised they would ask before withdrawing large sums, and I believed them. Belief, after all, was easier than doubt when it came to family. But over time, I began to notice a pattern. Every time I rose higher at work, every time I celebrated a small raise or a bonus, a new emergency seemed to materialize. My promotion 2 years ago coincided with Maya needing new espresso machines. Another bonus vanished when my parents' roof began to leak. Even vacations, my dream of California, a cruise with friends, were abandoned because someone needed money more urgently. Sometimes late at night, staring at the ceiling of my tiny apartment, I'd ask myself if the universe was mocking me. How could it be that the harder I worked, the less I had to show for it? While my colleagues bought cars and condos, I rode the bus to work, clutching a second-hand purse and calculating whether I could afford fresh fruit that week. Still, I kept giving, out of loyalty, out of guilt, out of hope that one day my sacrifices would mean something. But this promotion, this was different. This wasn't just another rung on the ladder. I was stepping into leadership with a real salary bump, real recognition. For once, I wanted to feel like the success I'd earned mattered not just to my bosses, but to my family. That's when I made a decision I hadn't dared before I would celebrate. Properly. No dive bars with coworkers, no takeout pizza at home. A real dinner at Rosario's, the Italian restaurant downtown I'd passed 100 times, but never could afford. I wanted to see my parents' eyes when they looked at me across a fine linen tablecloth, to hear them say they were proud. I wanted Maya to sit there, her children beside her, and finally acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't just anything. 2 weeks before the big night, I picked up the phone and invited them. Mom sounded thrilled, Dad promised they wouldn't miss it, and even Maya muttered a sarcastic fancy "huh" before agreeing to come. My heart swelled anyway. For the first time in years, I felt like something was about to change. I bought a black dress, simple but elegant, and booked the table for 12. Friends, colleagues, family. All of them in one place to mark the start of the life I thought I was finally stepping into. I didn't know then that this party, this one night, would rip apart everything I thought I knew about family. The night of the dinner, I arrived at Rosario's half an hour early. My palms were damp, even though the September evening air was cool. The restaurant's tall glass windows glowed warmly from the inside, promising laughter music and clinking glasses. I had passed by so many times on the bus, staring longingly, wondering what kind of people could afford to eat there. Tonight, I was one of them. I smoothed my black dress, the first I had ever bought brand new, instead of scavenging from clearance racks. My hair for once wasn't tied up with a cheap elastic. It had been trimmed and styled that afternoon at a real salon. For the first time in years, I looked like the version of myself I used to imagine. My colleagues arrived first. Sarah from accounting was her usual bubbly self, wrapped in a red scarf that made her laugh sound louder. Mike from sales gave me a bear hug, joking that he'd been promoting me for years. Jenny from HR winked and said, "About time they noticed you." Their presence warmed me, made me feel less like the girl with the perpetual bus pass, and more like a woman who belonged. Then came my college friends, arms full of hugs and old jokes that made me remember who I'd been before responsibility hardened me. We stood outside chatting, waiting for my family. My chest swelled with anticipation. Any second now they'd arrive and my two worlds would merge. But minutes passed. 7 o'clock came and went. My parents were never late, and Maya might be scatterbrained, but she always texted excuses. Tonight, nothing. I pulled out my phone, pretending to check messages casually, though my thumb was trembling. No missed calls, no texts. "Should we head inside?" Sarah asked, rubbing her arms against the chill. "It's getting cold." "Just a few more minutes," I said with a practiced smile. "They're probably parking." By 7:20, my smile was cracking. I dialed Mom, straight to voicemail. Dad, same. Maya, voicemail. Even her husband's phone was dark. I tried again, each ring drilling deeper into my chest. Still nothing. My mind raced with possibilities: car accident, hospital emergency, something with the kids. Fear and embarrassment knotted in my stomach. Jenny leaned closer. "Carrie, you okay? You've gone pale." "I'm fine," I lied, forcing my lips into something resembling a smile. "They're just running late." But my chest tightened with humiliation. My friends glanced toward the glowing restaurant entrance, shifting uncomfortably as laughter and clinking glasses spilled out. "Maybe we should get seated," Mike suggested gently. I nodded, though my eyes kept flicking toward the street, desperate for headlights that never came. "Yeah, let's go in. They'll be here soon." Inside Rosario's was everything I'd imagined: golden light on polished wood, wine bottles lining the walls, a pianist's melody weaving through soft chatter. The hostess led us to a large round table in the corner. 12 seats, 4 of them hauntingly empty. I tried to focus on my guests, their congratulations, their jokes, but my eyes kept darting to those chairs, waiting for the scrape of wood against tile, the sound of my family joining us. 20 minutes passed. 30. The waiter approached, pen poised, ready to order drinks. "Not yet," I said too quickly. "We're expecting a few more." My friends exchanged polite glances, hunger edging into their smiles. Mike leaned closer. "Carrie, maybe we should just start. They'll catch up." I opened my mouth to agree when my phone buzzed. Relief surged. Finally, I fumbled for the screen, expecting an apology. It was from Mom. "Don't lose us. We went to Mexico." I froze, the words blurring, as though my eyes refused to accept them. Mexico. My thumb trembled as another message appeared. "We took $25,000 from your account for vacation. Sure, you'll understand." The room spun. I could hear the pianist, the laughter forks clinking on plates, but all of it felt miles away. My banking app opened beneath my trembling fingers. There it was, $25,000, charged just 2 hours earlier. Flights, hotel in Cancun, 4 travelers. Another buzz. Maya this time. "Have fun at your party. Wish we could be there, but family vacation called. You understand, right?" Something inside me cracked. My chest hollowed, leaving only the echo of my heartbeat. The 4 empty chairs at the table now felt mocking deliberate. Carrie Sarah's voice was soft, cautious. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I forced myself to lock the screen, swallowing the bile rising in my throat. My friends were watching, waiting for me to explain. "My family," I forced the words out, my voice brittle, "had urgent business. They couldn't make it." It was a lie, but the truth was too unbearable to speak. "Then their loss," Mike said, raising his glass of water. "More time to celebrate you." Everyone joined the toast. I smiled on cue, but inside I was unraveling. I don't remember much of what I ate that night. The plates came and went, steaming bowls of pasta, baskets of bread, glasses of wine, that my friends kept raising in my honor. Their voices wrapped around me, warm and full of laughter, yet I felt like I was watching it all through a pane of glass. Every cheer, every clink of a glass was a reminder of the 4 empty chairs. My family's betrayal burned hotter than any humiliation I had ever known. They weren't just absent. They were celebrating somewhere else on a beach with cocktails in hand funded by my savings. I tried to keep my smile intact. "This gnocchi is amazing," I said to Sarah, though I could barely taste it. When Jenny asked about my plans for the new division, I gave vague answers, nodding, pretending to be present. Inside, I was screaming. At one point, Sarah leaned close, lowering her voice. "Carrie, are you sure you're okay?" I forced a laugh. Big night jitters. But my hands shook so hard under the table that I pressed them into my lap until my nails dug crescents into my palms. When the bill came, I barely looked at the numbers. What was another few $100s? When I had already lost $25,000, I slid my card across the table with numb fingers. My friends hugged me goodnight, some whispering that I deserved every bit of success coming my way. Their words should have been comforting. Instead, each embrace felt like sandpaper against raw skin. The walk back to my car was the longest of my life. My heels clicked on the pavement in hollow rhythm with my heartbeat. By the time I reached the driver's seat, the dam broke. Tears blurred my vision as I clutched the steering wheel, sobs racking my chest until I could hardly breathe. Not just because of the money, though. That loss was staggering. It was the betrayal. The calculated cruelty of leaving me stranded at my own celebration. The audacity of using my money to fund a vacation I wasn't even invited to. The words of their messages replayed in my mind, taunting me. "Don't lose us. You'll understand." Understand what? That I was, nothing but an ATM to them. That years of sacrifice meant less than a week in Cancun. When I finally pulled into my apartment complex, my body was trembling with a mixture of rage and grief. I climbed onto my narrow bed and opened my banking app again, as if hoping the numbers would change. But there it was, proof in black and white. I stared at the charge, my throat tight. That money was supposed to be my security blanket, the down payment for the house I dreamed of, my lifeline, and they had stripped it away without hesitation. For years, I had told myself they needed me, that I was the responsible one, the anchor. But now I saw the truth. They hadn't needed me. They had used me. Something hardened inside me. The tears dried on my cheeks as a sharp clarity settled over me. This wasn't just another emergency. This wasn't them leaning on me because they had no choice. This was theft. My fingers hovered over my laptop keyboard, hesitating only for a breath before I logged into my bank's website. One by one, I began dismantling the access I had given them. Remove mom and dad from checking account authorization. Cancel debit card they'd been using. Remove Maya as an authorized user on my credit card. Each click was like cutting a thread that had been strangling me for years. My heart pounded my chest tight, but underneath the fear was something I hadn't felt in a long time: control. Just as I closed the browser, my phone rang. The screen lit up with a familiar name, Mom. For a second, I considered letting it ring out, but my hand, almost against my will, swiped to answer. "Carrie, what the hell did you do?" My mother's voice sliced through the receiver, shrill with panic. "The card isn't working. We can't pay for anything here." I took a slow breath, my tone shockingly calm. "Good. You stole $25,000 from me." Her gasp was sharp, indignant. "We didn't steal anything. That money was just sitting there and we needed a family vacation. You've been so tense we thought you'd understand." My grip tightened on the phone. "I needed you at my party. I needed my family to support me, not rob me." "It's just money, Carrie. You make plenty." "It's not just money. It's years of sacrifice. It's my emergency fund. It's the house I've been saving for." Her voice rose desperate now. "You need to unblock the card right this second. We still have 7 days here. How do you expect us to pay for meals for the kids' activities?" I closed my eyes, my jaw clenched. "Figure it out. I'm done." And I hung up. My phone buzzed again almost immediately. Maya. The screen lit up with Maya's name. My thumb hovered for a second before I swiped to answer. "Carrie, what the hell is wrong with you?" Her voice came sharp, almost triumphant, as if she had been waiting for this fight. "Are you seriously going to ruin our family vacation over money?" My laugh came out bitter, humorless. "Over money? Maya, you stole from me." She scoffed. "We didn't steal anything. We've always used your account when we needed to. You never had a problem before. $500 for groceries is not the same as $25,000 for Cancun." There was a pause, then her voice dropped defensive but tinged with guilt. "We knew you'd say yes if we asked. That's why we didn't." The honesty landed like a punch. My pulse thundered in my ears. "So you knew it was wrong, and you still did it." "Carrie, this was supposed to be about the kids." She snapped, her tone twisting into accusation. "We didn't want you tagging along, making it all about your job. They deserve one special trip. Don't punish them because you're jealous." Jealous. My voice broke into a disbelieving laugh. You took my money for a vacation I wasn't even invited to on the night of my promotion party that you promised to attend. And you're calling me jealous. Maya's breath crackled over the line. The kids will be devastated if they can't go to the water park tomorrow. Do you really want to be the reason they cry? The kids are devastated because of you, Maya. You made a choice. Don't try to hang it on me. Her voice faltered for the first time, then hardened again. If you don't fix this, I'll tell everyone in the family what a selfish person you really are. Good, I said coldly. Maybe that'll save me some money. I hung up. My phone buzzed again within minutes. Dad. I almost ignored it, but curiosity tugged at me. I answered, bracing myself. Carrie, sweetheart. Dad's voice came soft, the peacemaker's tone he always used when Mom and Maya pushed too far. Your mother's very upset. Can we just talk calmly? I closed my eyes. Calmly, you drained my savings and abandoned me at my party. I know, he sighed. Maybe we should have asked before making such a big purchase, but you never get to take vacations. You work so hard. We thought it made sense for the family to finally enjoy something nice together. Without me, I cut in. There was silence on the line and then a week. We didn't think you'd want to come. You're always busy with work and you have parties with your friends all the time. I laughed bitter and hollow. That was my one celebration in 10 years, Dad. And you traded it for cocktails on a beach. Carrie will pay you back, he promised, his voice trembling with sincerity. With what you've never paid me back for anything. Not the mortgage, not Mom's medical bills, not Maya's equipment. His sigh was long, heavy, almost rehearsed. Right now we're stuck here with no way to pay for food. We can't just starve. You have 7 more days in paradise. Figure it out, because I'm done. Before he could reply, I hung up. My hands shook as I blocked all 3 of their numbers. For the first time in years, silence filled my apartment. No buzzing phone demanding money, no guilt-laced requests. Just silence. But it didn't last. At dawn, my phone lit up again with an unfamiliar number. I answered hesitantly. Carrie. It's Aunt Carol. Her voice was laced with concern. Your parents have been calling me all night. They say you've cut them off, that you've left them stranded. My chest tightened, but this time I didn't fold. Aunt Carol, they stole from me $25,000. They missed my promotion party to take a vacation with my savings, and they planned it, together. There was a gasp on the other end, followed by silence. Oh, sweetheart, I had no idea. Her voice softened into something like sorrow. You've been carrying them for years. It's not fair. They don't appreciate you, Carrie. They take and take because they know you'll always give. I know, I whispered. My throat burned, but the tears wouldn't come anymore. And I can't keep living like that. You shouldn't forgive them this time, she said firmly. Protect yourself. It's the only way forward. Her words were like a small candle in the darkness flickering with warmth. For the first time, someone outside my head was telling me I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't cruel, that protecting myself wasn't betrayal. When we hung up, I sat there for a long time, staring at the pale light creeping across my blinds. My hands were still trembling, but inside me something shifted. This wasn't just survival anymore, it was war. A week later, silence broke. The concierge at my building called me at work. His tone was formal, but uneasy. Miss Carrie, there are 3 people here. Mr. and Mrs. Peterson and a woman named Maya, demanding to be let up. They say they're family. I closed my eyes, pressing my forehead into my palm. Don't admit them. Under no circumstances. Yes, ma'am. That evening, as I walked toward the parking garage, I spotted them. My mother first, her hair frizzed, her face flushed from fury. Dad behind her, looking tired but stern. Maya, arms crossed, eyes sharp as knives. Carrie Maya's voice cracked across the lot. What the hell is wrong with you? I kept walking, my heels echoing off the concrete. You embarrassed us in front of the concierge, Mom cried, stumbling closer. He treated us like strangers. You embarrassed yourselves, I muttered, reaching for my keys. Dad stepped in front of me, hands raised as though to calm a wild animal. Sweetheart, can we just talk, please? There's nothing to talk about. My voice was cold flat. You stole from me. You missed my party. You made your choice. Maya moved closer, her face twisted with indignation. You're being ridiculous. We've always helped each other in this family. You're supposed to help us when we need it. I turned slowly, my stare locking on hers. When have you ever helped me? For the first time, she hesitated. Her mouth opened, closed, then curled into a sneer. We don't need to help you. You make good money. I make good money because I work until my body aches. I live in a shoebox, so I can cover your bills. While you sit in a failing coffee shop and call yourself a businesswoman. My shop is not failing, her voice cracked more fragile than fierce. When was the last time you turned a profit, Maya? When was the last time you paid me back for anything? Her lips trembled, but no words came. Mom started to sob loudly. Carrie, my back is killing me. I need money for massage therapy next month, please. I shook my head. Then apply for disability. Find something you can do. I'm not your personal ATM anymore. Their circle tightened around me as I fumbled with my keys. If you don't start helping us again, Maya hissed, stepping closer, we'll tell everyone what a selfish daughter you are. Go ahead, I said, unlocking the car. Tell them I'm selfish for not letting you steal from me. See how that story sounds. I slid into the driver's seat and slammed the door shut. Their voices still echoed through the glass as I started the engine and pulled away, leaving them shouting in the rearview mirror. For 2 weeks, there was silence again. Then came the call from my bank. Miss Carrie, we need to verify some information, the representative said carefully. There's been an application for a loan in your name. The email address used doesn't match our records. My stomach sank. What email? She read it aloud and my blood ran cold. It was Maya's. The rep continued. The application was for $200,000. We flagged it as fraud immediately. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles whitened. That was not me. What do I need to do? We'll document this as fraud. You may want to file a police report. Instead, I sat at my desk for a long moment staring at nothing. Then I opened my email and typed, Maya, if you ever use my personal information again, I will press charges. This is your only warning. I hit send with shaking fingers. For the first time, I wasn't just cutting them off. I was drawing a line in fire. Maya never replied to my email. For a while, I braced myself for retaliation for another desperate attempt to claw money from me. But instead, silence. 6 months later, on a brisk winter evening, I drove past Maya's coffee shop. The windows were dark. A faded for sale sign sagged in the corner. My chest tightened. 3 years of my savings had been poured into that place, and now it stood like a tombstone to every sacrifice I'd made. That night I called Aunt Carol. Oh, honey, she said, her voice soft with both pity and steel. Maya had to shut it down. She couldn't pay suppliers or staff without your help. She's working in some office now. I swallowed hard. And my parents. They sold the house. Couldn't keep up with the mortgage without you. They're in a small apartment now. Your mom took a part-time job at a laundromat. Your dad's back won't let him do much construction anymore. I was silent for a long moment. Relief, sorrow, guilt, they tangled together in my chest until I couldn't tell one from the other. You don't sound happy about it, Carol said gently. I don't know what I feel, I admitted. Sad, but lighter. For the first time in years, I can breathe. And it was true. My bank account was no longer a sieve. Each month, money accumulated like sand building into a hill. I had enough saved for a down payment now, enough to imagine a future that was mine alone. I avoided family gatherings where they might appear. When invited to holiday parties, I always asked who'd be there. If their names came up, I politely declined. Distance became my salvation. One Saturday morning, I sat at my kitchen table, coffee steaming sunlight, spilling through thin curtains, and opened my savings app. The numbers glowed back at me, steady solid. Mine. I thought about that night at Rosario's, about standing outside in my new dress, checking my phone as minutes ticked by. I thought about the 4 empty chairs, the mocking messages, the beachside cocktails they drank, while I smiled through tears. That night had burned something away inside me. My illusions, my loyalty, my endless willingness to sacrifice. What was left was raw, but it was real. A few weeks later, I took my first real vacation in 6 years. Just a long weekend at the beach, nothing extravagant. But as I walked barefoot along the shore, the waves curling around my ankles, I realized something simple yet powerful. For the first time, the sand beneath my feet wasn't slipping away. It was holding me steady. And for once, I chose myself.